Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 7 of Magik, written by Ashley Allen and art by Jesus Hervas. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. So up to this point, Magik teamed with Cal Isaacs and old friend Danny Moonstar, both connected to the Society of the Eternal Dawn, to stop an eldritch being called Liinal. Together they held back Liinal's invasion. Illyana even made peace with her demonic half, the Dark Child. But to end the threat, Cal sealed Liinal inside his body and fell into a coma. Danny took Cal back to the Society, leaving a distraught Magik behind. So with that said, this issue opens up in South Dakota in the Badlands. And when we get there, we see Danny walking, and when she gets to the entrance to the Society, she states, "You're seriously trying to sneak up on me? You've been trailing me for the past mile. Next time hide your anger better." And with that out in the open, Danny quickly turned around and opened fire as she continued to say, "You really thought you could infiltrate the Society of the Eternal Dawn at our headquarters? How cocky." So through the grace of God, Magik was able to avoid the arrows and was able to tackle Danny to the ground. And as they rolled, Danny asked Magik why she was attacking her. To that Magik made a great point and answered by saying, "Me, you fired first." And then Danny tried to hit her with, "I can't believe you followed me." But in all fairness, Danny was ignoring her calls. So with Magik point made clear, Magik stood to her feet and continued to say, "Ever since you took Cal, I haven't been able to sense the tracking spell I put on him, and because of that, Magik is rightfully worried." But Danny just replied by saying, "After Ireland, I brought Cal here. The base's defenses are interfering with your tracking spell." So with Danny explaining why Magik's spell wasn't working, Magik started to beg and said, "Please, I need to know how he's doing. I know we've been fighting but before Magik could finish her statement, Danny cut her off and said, "I'm sick of it too. I'm sorry, Illyana, I was too harsh in Ireland. We need to talk, but that'll have to wait. I just returned to base today because something is wrong." Following that, Danny opened the door and turned to Magik as they entered and continued to say, "I'm taking you to Cal because I know you'll just break in anyway. But you really shouldn't be here. I went to the Society to get answers. He's awake, but I don't think you should see him." Now, as Danny was saying that, Magik's inner thoughts went on to say, "Things feel stilted between Danny and me, and I don't think either of us knows how to fix it." And then out loud, Magik surged forward and said, "No, I've waited too long." And once she got to the door, Magik told the guards waiting, "Hey, losers of the round table. Are you gonna let me in or do I need to bust out my own sword and armor?" With that threat out there, one of the guards opened the door with a click of a button without protest. And once in, Magik made a beeline straight towards Cal and gave him a giant hug and said, "I'm so sorry, I should never have involved you with Liinal." But on the next page, to Magik's dismay, Cal wasn't quite himself anymore. In fact, Liinal was slowly taking him over. So with the cat out of the bag, Magik, of course, asked what was happening, and instantly, Danny told her, "This is why I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want you to blame yourself. We had this under control." But as Danny continued to speak, Liinal kept injecting into their conversation and said, "Illyana ritual to contain me failed, and because of it, I have full control of this body. I am no longer bound to my domain. Once this body adjusts to my powers, I will be limitless. Think of what fun we'll have." Now this caused Magik to say, "No, that wasn't what the spell said. This wasn't supposed to happen." So as Magik started to flare up, Danny turned to her men and told them to stand down because she could handle this, and then went on to say, "Illyana, you need to calm down before we do something we can't take back." Now this was pissing Magik off, because as Liinal was bragging about almost feeling human again, Magik slowly started to shift into Darkchild. Now this was something the guards were on edge about, because they quickly strapped up, and were moments away from attacking both Liinal and Magik. But Danny jumped in and ordered them to stand down. But just because an order is given, doesn't mean an order will be followed. Because one of the guards was able to launch his attack. But before it could connect, Magik was able to intercept it by using her new sword. So with the move blocked, the man went on to tell Magik, "The boy is not your friend Magik, only a parasite inside a corpse." Following that statement, Magik just let loose and went full Darkchild mode and told the onlookers that their prophecy was wrong about her, so it sure as hell could be wrong about Cal too. But regardless of what Magik said, the fight was on anyway as two golems rushed her, and with a swipe of her sword, she cut them down with no problem. So with things intensifying, Magik just continued to take them down as if they were nothing. It was so bad that Danny spoke up and said, "Everyone calm down, Illyana isn't a threat. You're feeding into exactly what Liinal wants." So with Danny's words out there, Liinal injected again and called Magik his knight in shining armor, which pissed Magik off because she made it clear that she is protecting Cal, not him. But at this point in the game, Liinal just smiled and said, "Is there even a difference at this point?" So nothing else to say to Liinal, Magik spun around and drew both weapons and said, "This has gone on long enough, Cal's coming with me. You had your chance to fix this, and you failed." But just as fast as Magik drew her weapons, the man before her cast a spell that caused them to disappear. And as they vanished, the man went on to say, "You summon your weapons through a pocket dimension. Unfortunately for you, Astral Magik easily shuts that door." So with the battle about to become close-quarter combat, Danny jumped in and tried to stop everything as a knock came at the door. And on the next page, a woman walks in with her hands up saying, "My exemplars, you're too quick to jump into action. No one will win this fight today. Remember Illyana defeated Liinal, she's our guest. Welcome Illyana, to the headquarters of the Society of the Eternal Dawn. I am Embodiment, the leader of this organization." Now this caused Magik to say, "What a warm welcome, I hope you didn't roll out this red carpet just for me." So to de-escalate things, Embodiment went on to say, "I promise my seconds in command are normally not so hostile. Hopefully, they've calmed down enough for introductions." Which they did, as the first one was introduced as Lexi Larson, her exemplar of recruitment and a huge fan of Magik's work. The next one was introduced as Yenisa Suwin, their exemplar of weaponry. And finally, the man was introduced as Kian Mir, their exemplar of prophecy. So with everyone named, Embodiment then went on to say, "Forgive my exemplars. We've been on edge ever since Callan woke up. My hunters are still wary of Darkchild, but I know they'll come around with time. I truly appreciate your help in defeating Liinal." So as Embodiment tried to ease things, Magik went on to say, "I couldn't care less. My priority is getting Cal back to normal. He's not safe here. Especially with your exemplars." Which is a reasonable thing to think, so Embodiment went on to say, "I understand your hesitation after this whole fiasco. I promise no harm will come to Cal. Our full resources are open to you. We can discuss the next steps in my office. Danny will escort Cal there." Now following that conversation, on the next page, we see the Magik walking with Embodiment while she said, "I created the tower by confining a falling star and forcing it to invert. The star powers our defenses and our spell work." And funny enough, when Embodiment asked if she was impressed, Magik simply said, "Not in the slightest." Which was seen as refreshing, because Embodiment appreciated Magik's honesty. And then Embodiment went on to say, "When I founded the society, I never knew what it would turn into. How disparate groups of hunters would unite for the greater good. We've revolutionized how we deal with threats, combining tech and magic to prevent and control apocalypses before they start." So as they walked, Magik kept hearing people whispering about her. And in her inner thoughts, Magik stated, "Before, I would shy away from such labels, but now I embrace it." And on the last panel of this page, Magik turned around and took her Darkchild face and told the onlookers, "Don't worry, she is here to help. And I don't bite much." Following that, Embodiment told Magik, "Please don't pay them any mind, they're protective of our home," but this was whatever to Magik. And as she walked the hall of this structure, Magik thought to herself, seeing Embodiment's control over her society, "I can't help but to think of Limbo and Maddie. Our hands-off leadership caused so much destruction. If I had controlled the situation earlier, would Limbo have had its rebellion? If I had controlled and accepted Darkchild earlier, would Cal have gotten hurt?" But as Magik was lost in thought, Embodiment just kept going on talking, saying, "Maybe this will finally impress you. The Library of the Fates. It's a nexus for the prophetic information. The connection I forged with the realm arms my hunters with prophetic knowledge to prevent disasters before they occur." And like clockwork, Magik shot back by saying, "Not much value in false prophecies." With that said, Embodiment went on to say, "Darkchild's prophecy is a remnant of the chaos that ran wild before I took over. Callan's grandmother Amy refused to part with that journal. Besides, the prophecy wasn't wrong, it was misinterpreted." So with that cleared up, we then transitioned over to Embodiment's office, where she told Magik to feel free to put their resources to good work. This led Magik to say, "All this power and for what? Krakoa fell, Limbo invaded New York, the vampires plunged the world into darkness, and Cal got hurt. Now all this was true, so Embodiment went on to say, time still moves, regardless of how much I wish I could control it. Variables can be altered, but constants remain. I'm only human." Following that, Magik sat on the desk and replied with, "Yet it seems you have more than enough people under your control. Who are these sculptures of?" Then Magik asked, "What is this?" The statues were blank a moment ago. "I don't tolerate threats, especially to my friends. But that was when embodiment went on to say, "No need to worry, with the star's power, I can observe the tower's residents from my office." The sculptures merely switch from time to time. On the next page, Cal, Danny, and the exemplars entered the room as the weapons master shoved Cal onto the floor. And almost instantly, Magik's inner thoughts stated, "I refuse to allow Cal to be treated like this. If this is how an organization treats its guests, I'd hate to be a prisoner." So with anger in Liminal's eyes, he shouted out, "You think this will bind me for long? I will savor taking you apart piece by piece, until nothing remains but a blank doll to enact my will on this earth. You will suffer and you will thank me for it." Now this was a lot of Magik to see, so as she started to walk forward, embodiment grabbed her shoulder and said, "I understand, dear, I hate to see him in this state. It's like one of my own children being hurt." Now this was pissing Magik off, because she lashed out and said, "I don't care about this, I'm not like Danny. I don't want to be a part of your club. How do you plan to separate Cal and Liminal?" To that, embodiment went on to say, "Easier said than done. Your sealing spell was flawless. It will take time to unravel the threads." So with the society's admission to not being able to break it quickly, Magik just rolled her eyes and opened a portal and said, "Then she will get Dr. Strange to help." So just as Magik was about to walk through the portal, embodiment took hold of Magik's wrist and said, "Our sources tell us that Strange is no longer in this realm. Who knows how long it'll be before he's back? We must trust each other, seize Al blood, and the society protects its own." But regardless of what embodiment said, Magik just didn't trust her, even if Danny did. Then embodiment went on to say, "There is a magical artifact that I believe can help separate the two. A ring in Las Vegas has been selling burnouts, a drug that will give anyone a power boost. It will bring about mass chaos. I believe these dealers are using the trinket to enhance their product. Danny, I'm assuming you want the mission?" To that, Danny said, "Of course, I will head there today." So with that issue, Magik still stood her ground and said, "I'm not leaving Cal here. I don't trust you not to kill him in order to get to Liminal. He's coming with us." Now this did not sit well with the exemplars, cause embodiment had to stand between them and said, "Let's put ourselves in Magik's shoes. I completely understand her hesitations. Let us earn your trust. Liminal can join you under one condition. We'll need a physical tether so that if Liminal escapes, his movement and magic are restricted. Hopefully, it will also prevent Cal's body from fully adjusting to Liminal's power." So with that said, Liminal went on to say, "How naive, my power will grow and you cannot prevent this. Magik made a wish to have me bound," her magic responded. "A wish like that is not so easily undone. Just as my first domain intertwined with my magic, so will this body. After all, your society consumed the creators of that spell just as I've consumed their descendants." This statement prompted embodiment to say, "I appreciate your confidence. Maybe I can't prevent it, but I certainly can delay it." With a smile on his face, Liminal just laughed and said, "Oh embodiment, how you wound me with your..." But before he could finish, embodiment drove her hand through his chest and removed his heart. So with that said, this issue comes to an end with embodiment telling Magik that this spell doesn't harm the body or him in any way, and then she went on to say, "I'm sorry Illyana, but I assure you, ensuring peace is all about control, my dear." Now when it comes to this issue, I rather liked how they used it to introduce the next phase in Liminal's story and introduce the much talked about organization Danny joined. And my first impression of the Society of the Eternal Dawn is that they remind me of the people that work alongside Doctor Strange. And as for the embodiment, I don't trust her at all. Whenever I see a character that is so calm and at peace no matter how many times they are assaulted, I feel like they are hiding a dark secret. Now down in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moving forward. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.